Hello, I'm Witty. I'm going to be reacting to Neo, reacting to Grubby, talking about the quality of life improvements for Warcraft 3. We're all Warcraft 3 extraordinaires in our own way, so I'll be very interested to see what these guys have to say. It's a long video, so strap in. I'm going to try to be quick and concise with my feedback, so the video doesn't go too long.
Hello, I'm Grubby.
Hello, he is Grubby. We are watching 17 quality of life improvements to flood players into Warcraft 3. I am very curious what Grubby has to say. Gonna grab a little bit of food and then we watch it together, and I'm not starving anymore.
And I'm in my late 50s. My long life has given me lots of time to think about Warcraft and Reforged and some improvements that could be made to the game that we all know and love.
He's getting
in the
sassy.
year 2020, Blizzard released their new client, Reforged, where everybody plays Warcraft 3 on right now, whether you use the old graphics or the new graphics. A Reign of Chaos CD key on your Battle.net account allows you to play Reforged with the old graphics, and if you have a Reforged copy, you could choose either one. Most serious players choose to use the old graphics. Besides the new graphics that were brought with Reforged, which most people don't like, Reforged still brought a whole slew of improvements and bugs, which is part of the reason the reviews were so deservedly scathing at the time. But Warcraft has had many improvements as of recently. We've had some cool content, some cool collaborations and show matches, like the Tyler 1 arc, and the soda popping, learning of Warcraft 3. And so I feel like it's a good time to do a little letter to Blizzard of what I think are some easy wins when it comes to offering some extra quality of life to new players.
That's ambitious, imagining that Blizzard's going to listen to any good feedback.
And to the existing player base, things that I think, perhaps naively or perhaps correctly, are relatively light on development resources, but could be a massive improvement in quality of life for new players and experienced players alike. Here's my list of 17, if I don't think of any more, quality of life changes that I think could be swell. Number 1, Reforged brought lightning fast loading when you queue up for a versus game on ladder. And as you queue into
you can't
the game,
see what your race
the
is,
loading is
or
so
their
fast
race,
that you can't even see what race you're playing against oftentimes. And unlike in StarCraft 2, there is no way to open a menu to see what race your opponent is. W3 Champions, which is a third-party server where you can also play Warcraft 3 via with a legal copy of Reforged, fixed this by allowing you to type -game, and it'll show the races of every player.
You could also do that, or there'd just be some sort of symbol in the Allies tab that would show their race. But yes, it is funny how that is like one of the biggest first world problems, isn't it? Is the game just loads too quickly. You can't actually tell what your opponent is. I have to ask you guys when I play melee games, what was my opponent?
In the game, provided that the race was known at loadup. It would of course not reveal a random player's race, as that is supposed to be a secret. I feel like Warcraft 3 could do it like how it is in StarCraft 2, where if you click on the Allied menu in the top right, you can see the opponent's race and everyone else's that is not you. Of course, you can see your own race by looking at your own base. I think this would be nice. Additionally,
he must have watched my reaction right now, somehow. This is very meta.
They could make the loading time artificially a bit longer than half a second. I mean, it sure is impressive to load that fast and everything, but I still feel like it's a good mixture between speed and quality of life if the loading time would be set at a minimum of 2 seconds, just so you can kind of catch your bearings. Next up, another feature that W3 Champions already reprises, but I feel like should be part of the base game.
So, yep.
Oh, thanks for popping in, Neo. I'm supposed to be reacting to you, reacting to Grubby.
That would be cool, to have a command or some indicator. I would like a 3-second countdown before every game, similar to StarCraft.
Is having a number over the gold mine with the available amount of workers that can go into the gold mine, in addition to the current number of workers in the gold mine, so that you know whether you've fully maxed out your mining in the gold mine yet. It would be shown as 5 out of 5, perhaps in green or without a color change, or 4 out of 5 if you haven't fully saturated the mine yet. Here's one that W3 Champions doesn't have yet, but I feel like would be a really good idea. It is actually really untransparent which creeps are going to be dropping the items. And many viewers in Warcraft 3 already make fun of all the pro gamers that are forgetting tomes of intelligence, tomes of agility, etc. because pros are so busy and zooming through the map that they're already looking away, and perhaps they forgot which exact creep is the one that's going to be dropping a tome, especially after maps are getting rebalanced and they're not how they used to be back when. So my idea was, if you could just show a subtle book icon either over the HP bar, on top of the HP
I think
bar,
Neo disagrees.
or over the creep.
That's very nice for new players, something like that. An introductory map that would give them an indication as to which creep or is going to drop an item so they can inspect the item and understand the item. But I don't think that should be put in because it's kind of a skill-based thing to remember which creeps have everything. And I think there's an interesting take there. It would be nice because I don't remember the creeps that drop the items, but I don't know if I like that.
That is going to be carrying a Tome of Intelligence or the equivalent item drop, that could be quite nice. This would allow all the players that don't have perfect memory about which creeps are going to be dropping which item to...
He's muted himself, he's eaten. I think this is the best idea I've ever heard of, and I'm gonna fully support it with everything I can. Grubby, you're the greatest! I love you, Grubby! You're the best! I'm waiting for him to realise he's muted himself. Come on, Neo.
Oops, I'm muted. Hola. Sorry about that. Yeah, little bit of an interruption here, because as good as the idea is, and I talked about this before, the idea is solid. The execution that is possible in Warcraft right now is not, because we tested it. And we kinda came up with something. So
just make the creep glow or something. Give it a different
muted.
saturation.
The way this is implementable into Warcraft is the problem. Because theoretically, Blizzard could do whatever with the game, but we saw that they have some issues doing engineering work, right? So you have to work with what you got. Wait, I'm not muted. You're muted. So we tinkered around with it, doing this. As you can see, there's tomes over the creeps. There is... Wait, I can boost this a little bit.
It's an attempt.
There's tomes over the creeps. There is little treasure chests over the creeps.
I think the way to do it, without it looking kind of over the top like that, although that is nice, is it would be even smaller, or attach the icon to the health bar. But then that might get in the way of the health bar, and it's pretty important to see the last few moments of health that a creep have, because there's creep still. So you can have the items slightly to the left of the health bar, but a little bit smaller than that. So that way it's not weirdly hovering over above them as if it's flying.
So, putting anything on top of a unit is confusing. There's always a little bit of a distance here. Some creeps also have big HP bars, others don't. So instead of putting it on top of the HP bar, either put it into the HP bar, like the level of a hero, or make the creep glow a little, which is super easy to do, or give it a little bit of an aura, which shall not be too obnoxious, just a tiny little bit. I think making creeps glow instead is the better way to do it.
The only problem with that is you don't then necessarily know what the creep is going to drop unless there's some very obvious glow, because there's permanent items, there's chargeable items, there's the tomes, of course. So all different types of items. And I kind of like the idea of indicating what the player could get from that creep. So you think, oh, I don't need a chargeable item. I want to just give my Blade Master as many claws of attack as possible. So I only want to attack the permanent items that can drop, the creeps that drop permanent items. I like the idea of having the symbol there for that degree. I could be convinced to accept it. I'm certainly not majorly against it. It's just, I don't know.
But in general, I agree with Grubby that doing this is a nice thing.
To see which one is going to be dropping a tome, and then you would have a treasure chest icon in the same place over any creeps that will be dropping a permanent item, such as a Wand of Illusions, a Claws of Attack, a Ring of Regeneration. You don't know obviously what it is going to be, though that is a discussion for another.
Spoiler, Wand of Illusion is not a permanent item.
time. Should you be able to know what an item is going to be before it drops? Debatable. I don't know if I like it, but at least it can be discussed. But at least the fact that knowing that it's the Ogre Mage, not the Troll Priest or the Troll Warlord, that has to creep at this camp would be a nice quality of life.
Oh my
feature
god,
for
sexy
players that
time.
don't
You
live, eat,
more.
and breathe Warcraft 3 every day.
Can't help.
It's not going
He's
to make any difference at
donated
the
just
top
to
level, which is my favorite
have a go at
type
Grubby.
of change and quality of life improvement,
my
because it
gosh.
literally helps bring up the newbies of the game a bit with more quality of life improvement without affecting the balance at all at the high level. It's literally a
He can't help
win-win,
himself,
except
can
for,
he?
of course, the development time required to design that and implement it into the game. But I think it'd be lovely. The fourth option
I think we should never know what item is dropping. It's the RNG that we love. Otherwise, you decentivize moving out on the map, and you should always incentivize moving out on the map.
option is one where I wasn't sure whether it was going to be a good idea 6 years back when I was brainstorming about it, but now that W3 Champions has had it, I feel like it's so useful to learn the game and to teach the game to people. Having an in-game clock that pretty much
Yes.
just shows the amount of seconds and
100%.
minutes that has passed since the start of the game. It's easy to get used to it from W3 Champions, and then when you play on Battle.net again or custom games, you're not going to have that anymore, and it's quite a shame. You could make it a toggle where it does or doesn't show, and of course, while a real-time clock isn't as charming as the sun-night dial, translating every hour of past game time
I don't
by
even know.
the sun-night dial of
Yes.
Warcraft 3 at the middle top of the screen,
Yes.
remembering that 1 hour passed in game is equal to 20 seconds in the real world, and
Yes.
then doing your own
I've played the game for 20 plus hours. I still don't know what all the times are on those dots. Like what the 7 o'clock dot is. Do you see what I mean? That's crazy, isn't it? That's how unintuitive it is. Or I'm just dumb. Or both.
maths with how many seconds has passed, definitely not as convenient. If I'm
Yes.
teaching a player, I would prefer to tell them that at exactly the 5-minute mark is when your Mountain King should be finishing, rather than saying, well, look to my coming at the third morrow of the, at 7 a.m. on the third day, and that's where the Mountain King or that's where the Archmage is going to be coming out. So it's just a much easier number to translate. You would of course still keep the day-night cycle, but just a little clock, maybe where W3 Champions has it or somewhere else.
Okay, so the best thing about that is it helps players understand build orders and timing attacks. The downside of it is it can be an issue with the timing attacks because Warcraft 3 can be a little predictable in terms of what you should be doing during a game. So when you need to hit the Night Elf to destroy their Ancient of Lore, for example, tier 2 sort of timing attacks are quite important, or when to hit the Orc burrows. So you want to get level 3 on your Archmage as fast as possible. So the Orc typically try to get an extra burrow or so they can feed into a second hero and then more units. So you can typically do timing attacks that destroy things. And then it makes it a bit more obvious when you need to hit. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it kind of adds into the predictability.
When I'm loading the leaderboard to see where I'm ranking in the world right now, as I've been trying to get rank 1,
Just want to make sure. I still think it's worth having the timer, even if that is a problem, because it is what it is.
for some reason, it automatically sorts by the race that I'm queuing up as. This is always the case whichever race you queue up as. And while there's many more pressing
It's got a very nice win rate there. Yeah, that leaderboard, I barely pay ever any attention to it. It's just, I'm surprised. Is it actually working now or what?
problems that perhaps need to be resolved on the ladder, I'm focusing on one that's a pretty easy fix. Just have us start at the all races button so we can see how we rank in general, which is surely a lot more interesting. It's also more homogeneous looking to see all the different colors and all the different races.
Yes.
And it's surely more relevant to see where you rank. If you then want to see how you rank among the undead players, you can always go and queue up on that. But it just feels kind of weird that it always groups you just with the other races, as if that's somehow the most important metric. I know this may not super affect everybody, but it's just something that's been rubbing me a little bit the wrong way, that I always need to go click on the all races, which
That's so dumb. What the fuck? Also, who is Nadroy?
generally
Yeah.
is more interesting.
Who's Nadroy?
Additionally, this screen could also focus specifically, to begin with, exactly on your own ranking. Notice how I'm not in the center of the screen. Of course, I want to be the center of focus, and any player is going to want to be the center of focus. And if they are not ranked, then it could at least show them their own number at the bottom always, like rank 347 or rank 11,700.
Yeah.
Prize
Which I think could
available
be
again,
interesting
laughing face,
rather than
Guten
the
Appetit,
way that it's being
laughing
shown
face.
now, where you have to go find your own name. Also an option in W3
He did well to speak over that. That took a bit of concentration. Yeah, I can't really argue with those.
Champions, but not yet on Battle.net's version of Warcraft 3, being able to choose your own colors when you play ladder. Right now it's completely randomized, which
I'll
can
do
lead to
green.
some pretty poor color matching, such as I'm teal,
Olive
they're
green.
blue. It's very
That was one good thing that Reforged did, or rather, technically, it was because of Reforged. You remember we got those patches before Reforged was released, like the 24-player system and the coloring because of it. Olive green is such a good color, and the magenta, oh, beautiful, beautiful colors.
similar looking, so
Here's a fun game. Type what your favorite color is in the YouTube comment section below, and thumbs up the video. Thanks.
I'm going to press that button next to the minimap, which goes away from the crossed axis and into the allied colors, and I will always be blue and the opponent will always be red.
So dumb.
That is a consistent way to play that gives me good recognizability and trains my muscle memory that blue is good and red is bad. But
Blizzard doesn't want us to have a choice. They take our choices away.
what if I wanted something else? I
Sag.
want that level of consistency, but I don't want to have specifically those colors because I'm so sick of them because I've been watching them for so long. I want to use the breadth and
Look
depth
at that.
of color that Warcraft 3 has to offer, but I want to be able to choose which one it's going to be. So I'm always green, my opponent is always orange. W3 Champions allows this, but Warcraft 3 does not yet. And it
Out of curiosity, what do you think is the best conflicting colors for like 1 versus 1? I think it's red and yellow, but I could be wrong. I'm interested to see what you guys think. Like one player is always red, one was always yellow. That's like the clearest indicator for your eyes to pick up on.
would be nice to have that functionality as well. Should it be
I want to point out we are at point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 5 of these are on War3 Champions. Community project with volunteers.
too difficult to be able to add an option in the option menu in the client of Warcraft 3 where you can choose your own color, choose
It's like more of a compliment to things that have been done, but it's good because it's still stuff that should be implemented properly into the game.
allied's color, and choose the opponent's color. Also very friendly to colorblind players that may have some trouble distinguishing blue and red from each other. This one is a little bit more of a risky suggestion, but I feel pretty strongly about it, so I'm going to be including it anyway.
Risky
Do
click.
you guys remember when chat in Warcraft 3 looked like this?
Yes.
The moment you log into Battle.net, ready to start playing some games, you would have this large social system where you see everybody talking, and you
Yep.
could be in clans.
That Ember, I'll still never forgive him for killing my paladin just the millisecond before he town portaled.
The game focused on the social system, which feels like a fantastic play and move for developers because it increases the social feeling of being online. In StarCraft 2 nowadays, in Warcraft 3 nowadays, when you log in, you feel like an island, not even a monolith, just an island. You're on a single uninhabited island. Social system is completely gone, and there's really no reason to ever be inside Warcraft 3, the game, when you are not actually literally playing. Look how lonely this feels. I get this spider to keep me company. This is always dead because it's small and it's an opt-in button. Nobody talks here anymore. If I want to know who is in this place, I have to scroll through it. And we are all segregated in many, many, many different channels. And it just feels so dead. Remember this? It was so much fun. Now, that's not to say there were no weaknesses with this system.
It had its
I
problems,
still
but it was
remember
great.
when I introduced my niece to StarCraft 1 for the first time, we logged into StarCraft 1, which had a similar system to this, also very beautiful and charming looking. And the first message instantly was an
Racist?
insult about someone else's mother, along with desirable actions that would be done with their mother. This was a little embarrassing because it showed our game from the wrong side to her, but we managed to move past it, and she didn't mind too much or anything, and we ended up playing the game and having a great time.
I think it's bad, and there's no way this should be introduced, what Grubby's saying.
Oh,
In general, of course he has a point. Of course he's correct. In a perfect world. But Battle.net is a cesspool.
hey, what are you trying to say about me? Come on now.
And it's horrific what's going on there. It's actually a little bit disturbing, to be honest. Like, how often did we see screenshots of people just spamming the N-word
Yeah, that does
over
happen.
and over and over and over again? And these people might be reported, but the report system just goes into a void.
Yep.
This is nothing new. Like, this has been going on forever.
But the problem is more that it's being ignored. If there was proper report systems and people to give punishment to those that are obviously stepping out of line, then yeah, a chat system would be fine. It's like everything with moderation. But if Blizzard ain't gonna moderate the game, then yeah, I guess there would be the issue with the chat system. So yeah.
Game, whatever. And there's no way to deal with that except disabling all chat. So if Blizzard is not able to do simple moderation, which apparently they're not doing, not even automated really, then this is just a breeding ground for hate speech. We had horrible maps hosted on Battle.net. You kind of see that there's a lot of degeneracy. Hunt the N-word, whatever, was hosted at Battle.net. It's not even obscured. Like, you had maps that looked like a swastika. This wasn't a coincidence.
Was that when I played the least racist tower defense? You remember that? But it's not really Bourbon TD. It's not. It's not the same.
And if
flag.
Blizzard is not
It's not.
doing moderation, you cannot allow this really to be in a more prominent role, because if it's in a more prominent role, then people will spam this even further. Yeah, freedom of speech, herka-durka, but this goes too far, and Blizzard is not in control of it.
Here you go. See? You got the fun. It's definitely not racist, guys. It's not. That one isn't. But I know what he's talking about. There are basically some custom games that are for degenerate filth. But the problem is this is kind of how like Twitter and Facebook and all of those social media sites are. There's the very small minority that are incredibly loud and will play these games frequently and regularly because they are degenerates. They don't move on to make a better life for themselves. But like 99% of Warcraft 3 custom games are absolutely fine. It's just the 1% that are just full of degeneracy.
So I'd rather take chat away from Battle.net. War 3 Champions can afford that. War 3 Champions can do it. They have mods. That is moderated. And again, I want to make my point. If that offends you, just mute it. But then the offense is already done. And the damage is already done. It's like someone cuts you with a knife and your friend...
That's me joking, by the way, if you didn't get that, because Tyrell's coming at me. Yes, Hitler took that symbol and made it for himself. I'm well aware of where it came from beforehand, and it was for peace. So don't come at me in the YouTube comments as if I don't know that. I'm aware of it. It's basically a joke, me saying it's the least racist, but it's not even the symbol. Okay?
Saying, ha, don't worry. Just put a band-aid on top. The guy still cut you. And he will cut other people. And you need a lot of band-aids. Or people will just move into another town or whatever. In this comparison. You gotta tackle the problem at the root. And telling people just mute the guy isn't the solution. It never is. You gotta weed out the freaking racists, the bigots, the people who insult your mothers with horrible, violent sexual acts. These are the people that need to be tackled. It's not that we should provide a band-aid with the mute function. And I'll stand by that forever.
I think it's a little extreme. You shouldn't necessarily be doing those things in the first place. Obviously, you're a degenerate if you are. I think it's because I've been on Battle.net for goodness knows how long, and you guys have just got used to me spamming racist and sexist comments, so it's fine. Obviously, that's a joke. I've been used to Battle.net and seeing the worst of humanity, so I've got like the thickest skin there is, essentially. Nothing really offends me. Not to say that it should exist. I completely agree with Neo that you shouldn't have people doing this. I don't think you should take it to the degree where anyone that types anything even similar to it could be like, accounted for and be punished for it. There's just the obvious people that just go way overboard, and then you can give them an easy ban, and then like maybe timeouts for others that are just dumb and maybe need a good slap around the face to learn the lesson. If they don't learn the lesson, then give them the ban.
Why not have it be like W3 Champions, where by default you are not catapulted into the chat, but you could press one button to enter a large chat. Not the strange hidden, we are actually a little embarrassed of our social system and it is here at the bottom right.
Yeah.
Because 90% of the screen must stay dead space. No, have it be big, but have it be opt-in. That's a middle way between probably the sensitivity that Blizzard has towards potential.
It's funny. We got the whole Warcraft 3 Reforged system in, right? Didn't we? I actually genuinely can't remember if you can actually do things whilst you're searching for a game. Because that's really irritating when you're locked to a screen and you have to stay on that screen and you can't go to like look at the leaderboard or look at the custom game list whilst you're searching for a melee game. I feel like you can't do that, but I could be wrong. But I would very much like you to be able to sort of, like Grubby says, just have a chat screen at the top, and then you've got like these symbols here, and when you click on them, you can still interact with what's happening on the chat or move channels or do other things whilst the game search is still going on, so you don't interrupt it.
Public profanity right when you log in. But still,
that's even more extreme, but yes. Play a custom game while searching. If it was single player, maybe, yeah. Back in the old days when I used to do 4 versus 4 RT, it could take hours to find games. I'm not joking, literal hours. When you got to the rank that I did, because I got to rank 1, when you get to that high level, there's only so many people, and it was a lot more niche on how it used to bridge the gap. So today, you can basically play against anyone. The Battle.net just lets anyone play against anyone, and it's scuffed. But back then, it would only let specific players of a certain caliber play against each other. So you would get better quality games because of it, but it would take hours to find games.
Allowing people that do want to opt into the conversation to have this more classical look. It's such a big improvement. Trust me, we're going to love spending time so much more on Battle.net if we can spend time in such a chat and not the new Battle.net system. This is how it looks now. This next change is a little bit about...
I'd rather have an empty chat than a chat full of bigots and racists again.
Yeah, but not everyone's going to be bigots and racists. So
in chat, I see a couple of people saying,
shut down.
Why'd you get offended by that? You're kind of blame shifting. You put something on the offended person to kind of tell them, just get over it. If something bad happened to you, and another person saying, just get over it, it's not that bad. Did that help you? Probably not. So the just get over it perspective isn't the solution. The just use mute isn't the solution. And racism was always bad at Battle.net. Always. Past 20 years. Now, a more recent thing than racism is hatred against LGBTQ people, trans people. Put that on Battle.net, and then it's twice as bad as before. No.
Visibility and clarity. When you log into the Warcraft 3 client, you are greeted with this screen. There is a little bit of confusion, allow me to explain. when you look at this screen, it is pretty obvious.
Can people do these bad things currently in Reforged? Yes. We have had many.
I think I know why this video is going to be so long. Neo's obviously got a sticking point here in regards to how bad people behave on the internet. I'm a lot more sort of used to it. Not saying it's right. I still think people shouldn't do what they do, and I think there should just be proper punishments for it, so then you can weed those people out. But I don't think you should make it so that no one can then type, because there are idiots that do type badly, because we'll be, no one will be able to say a thing. There's always going to be a moron. You don't even have to go onto the internet to find people that are morons. Like, there's morons everywhere. Like, that's nature. It's literally humans as a general species. A lot of them are. It is what it is. But you get through it and you understand and you just move on. As for this, I don't like how you can go into single player. A lot of the time I go into single player and then I come out to go into customs, and I think I'm going into the customs that you can host on multiplayer, but then it's actually the single player custom. It is kind of convoluted how they have like them both overlapping over each other, and you have to be specifically in the single player. Then you get access to all the single player stuff. Yeah, that could be improved. What he's about to say.
Bots, screenshots of bots or people, whatever. They act like bots. It could be people, whatever. That's why there's an opt-in option. Well, then these people can roam freely. Why do you want to allow these people? Like, the way better suggestion is moderate your freaking Battle.net.
That's not going to happen.
Like, that's the core issue. The core issue isn't that we can see chat or not. The core issue is that Blizzard is too cheap and too lazy to filter racism, bigotry. But then they put a pride flag in a certain month, of course, but they don't do anything against the speech on Battle.net. And until they do, you cannot platform, which is what it is, and put a spotlight on these people spreading this hate. Then rather hide it.
Obvious. If I click on this, I go to collection. If I click on this, I go to local area network. Click on custom games, and I go to custom games, presumably online. But you don't really know. It could be online or offline. Technically, this button...
Those are online.
Versus probably means you're going to play against other players. So that has to be online. Local area network is not online. And collection is probably not online either.
I understand your concern, but they release stress somewhere. Probably better online than in real life.
I don't think Neo should be responding to that, because if someone's typing that comment, I can tell you right now, they're basically trolling Neo and trying to get him wound up.
Their only outlet for stress is to flood an online platform with the N.
My opinion is quite straightforward. If you're a twat, fuck off. Basically, fuck you. I don't care. Like, you have your opportunity to prove yourself in life and with other people. If you, say, for example, come into my chat and you start acting like a complete dick, I'm going to obviously ban you. I'm going to mute you or whatever, and I'm just going to move on. This is why I have a thick skin when it comes to this, typically, with dealing with people online, because I've had to deal with it. If anyone doesn't know, I put up with multiple years, possibly 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years of someone coming into my Twitch chat every day, insulting me, saying the worst things about me, my family, everything racist, everything sexist, just the worst possible things you can imagine. And not only that, he would whisper people in my chat as well that would then contact with them. And Twitch basically didn't do jack shit about it. I just put up with this for fucking years. And it made me fucking solid and completely and utterly immune to basically all the bullshit that I could still put up with on Battle.net, where you do still come across people that are complete twats. And all you do, and this is an old trick that Pracky sort of taught me in a way, is if someone is just like a dick like that, you say, okay. You just type okay. They can say anything they want to say, you just say, okay. Just like immediately like deflates their point. And the point I'm trying to get across here is twats are going to be twats. You can try to teach them responsibly what to do. You can just hurl insults at them and say, how dare you start attacking me, or all this kind of stuff. they're going to do whatever they're going to do. So you either basically mute, ban them, because they're never going to change, because the people that do this are the people that are never going to change. There's like 1 in a billion out of them that are probably ever going to change their ways. Otherwise, they're going to do the same thing every time, be a complete moron. So you just got to either just crack on with it or just completely remove them. It's as simple as that, really.
Word. Dude, why are you defending these people? These people don't have to be defended. These people have to be punished. What kind of argument is that? Why are people finding new excuses and exit strategies for these people?
I did have one thought, but unfortunately I don't think it can work too well because it can be abused. But basically, if someone is clearly a dick, right, and you have chat and everyone knows they're a dick, and they basically put a report on that player saying this player's a dick, right, he should be perma-muted, or basically shouldn't be able to contact with other people on Battle.net. It's kind of like, what do you call it? A purgatory prison. I think they do that for hackers. They put hackers with other hackers in multiplayer games, some systems. You guys will probably know. You would need something like that where they can only talk and communicate with each other. They basically get banished from society, essentially. The only problem with that is what's to stop someone from mass reporting me, for example, getting enough of their mates or something, and I've not done anything wrong. That's the trouble. So then you would need some sort of system where you can appeal, but we all know Blizzard's not going to listen to your appeals because they don't listen to the reports. So it's very hard to manage.
No, that behavior must be punished and not tolerated. Why are we arguing about this? We shouldn't be arguing about this. You're a racist, you get punished. That's how it's supposed to be. And not like, oh, there's some racists. We should build opt-in solutions, let them roam freely, yada, yada, yada. No. No. Racist? Punishment. There you go.
So we've got this is online, not online, don't know, this is online, this is single player. So we've got this whole mix of services for which we are online and which we're not online for. When we click on single player, we get another menu that also says custom games in the exact
That's
same
when it gets
place.
confusing.
So if I look at that button in the middle, it's custom games. But is it online, offline? I don't know. Now, if you remember, I clicked on the single player button. But if you don't remember, then this doesn't tell you anything again. Is it online or is it offline? Custom campaign is probably offline because, you know, it's a single player campaign, except as a new player, I wouldn't know. Can I play the campaign with other players? A Warcraft player
Technically you
will tell
can, but it's
no,
through
you
customs.
can't. Not unless you go into the custom games online. But a new player wouldn't know. Campaign, custom campaign, multiplayer or not? I don't know. View replay. Could be online, could be offline. Don't know. Load save game. Could be online, could be offline. So the grouping...
That's so true. I love that.
Of the menu is not very obvious. I've tried to get people to join my custom game online before and they clicked this, which takes them into a menu of custom games. And when they
There's no search bar there.
there's no place to search multiplayer games. Additionally, this is all quite confusing, which I hope I've illustrated, and I've got a suggestion on how to do it differently. But let's look at this screen. There's one more confusing part here. Even though each of these buttons are 5 different buttons that take you to 5 different places, our brain melds things together a bit. At least my brain does. My brain definitely melts a lot. And it says single player here. So if I were to guess whether this custom game is single player or not,
sexy time
and if
again.
I really think about it, I think this custom game is probably multiplayer. Because there's the route to go to single player. So this must be that I am in the multiplayer menu. But I don't really know. If I think a little bit...
By the way...
What does it say? You
know,
can watch the original video.
What he says is all true. It's all true. But I actually thought about this last night before falling asleep. Okay, look again. This menu, right? You have this box where all the different modes are for whatever reason. That is that even 1/4 of the screen? Maybe. But then there's emptiness, place for grubby donos, emptiness, plus this chat thingy. Why? This is so dumb. This is so dumb. It's 70% void for a background picture, and then there's nothing. So, Blizzard, why is it not like this is the menu thing? Make a box for single player, make a box for multiplayer, make like options. There you go. And then here you have
one for
spots
like
for your Battle.net
collections
profile,
as well, whatever.
and put a
They don't have enough with that.
news ticker at the bottom. Boom. What? Like, why?
I genuinely don't know what the best solution is to this off the top of my head, but I really, if Blizzard were like going to come back and say, look, we are actually going to do something with Warcraft 3, we want to improve it, we want to make it better, more accessible, then I would actually take some time to genuinely think about how those menus can go. For now, you guys can write in the comment section or on twitch.tv/Witty and let me know, but off the top of my head, I haven't got a great solution.
Or make menus here or whatever. Just use the space. Who created this UI? It's so bad. It's so bad. Why do I need 24 clicks to...
And yes, Lacko, I completely agree with that. That's a personal thing for me. I think some people have a nostalgia for the menu screen rolling up, rolling down, and the sound that it makes. The chains and everything. But in my world right now, if I log on to Warcraft 3 and I want to go straight to custom games or straight to versus, I want that instantaneous. I want to click the button and it's right there. I don't want any of the scrolling up, scrolling down, because I've seen that for 20 plus years at this point. I'm done with it.
Post the game. Nobody understands this. It's so bad. Like, it's the core issue again.
Or make it an option, yeah.
I appreciate that Grubby is trying to put band-aids on things, because that's probably what the team is able to do. But the core issue is not that custom games thing exist.
I feel like in theory they can do anything they want, because this is a web UI, isn't it? So they can completely change this if they really wanted to.
Wise, the core issue is that there's buttons in a field that's 25% of the screen, and then we put the box into a box that leads to a box that then opens the box to let us play the game. Put things out of boxes. You know? Like, put it on the shelf. Let me grab stuff. Don't put a box and a box and a box on a shelf that takes out the box out of the shelf so I can open that box to get into another box, and then I get my candy. Give me the candy.
A bit less, and my
You gotta
eyes
think outside the box, I guess.
glaze over. I might be seeing single player, and it enters my consciousness, and then
Looked
I see
like Grubby
custom
had some
games, so now
tattoos
I'm
on his hand
assuming
there for a
that this
moment.
Custom game
You imagine Grubby with freaking love and hate on his fingertips. Someone donate to make that happen.
button is actually a single player custom game button. Either way, whether your brain works like mine or not, I think there's a lot to misassociate here. So let's make it a little simpler if possible. Have some kind of visibility to the fact that we're online here. If they implement the big chat or enter chat, then it's going to be more obvious. Have all
Such a funny and ridiculous problem. Ain't that true? Ain't that true?
the things that you can do online here together, such as play multiplayer games.
The
It's called
Matryoshka
versus,
menu.
which I think
That's what
sounds
it
a bit
is.
lame. It should just say play multiplayer, ladder, or play ladder, play multiplayer, whatever. Play ranked games, play unranked. I don't really know what it has to be called, but just say like, this is gameplay. This is like the custom games, user-generated content, custom games, you know, your tower defense and everything. It's allowed to explain a little bit more, have a bit more words or whatever, or you can keep it like this, but just make sure custom games online, like in some way. It can either be under an online header, or you can say so on the button. And then local area network and single player could be in the same spot under single player. Collection, I don't really care where you put it. Once you go to single player, this should be like custom game offline, or maybe it should say here you're currently offline, or like you're not playing online. I don't know.
Very good point by Chad. Shout out.
Come on, chat.
In general, I feel like all games should have a one-click button right on the launch where you can immediately queue to your preferred game mode. Like, why do I have to
Yes.
click 3 to 4 times to get into playing
Instant.
a 4-on-4 game if that's what you like? 1000%. 1000%. Open the game, click a button, play the game is what it's supposed to be. It's not what it is, but what it's supposed to be. Get Rich Brothers, my dude.
I'm sure that people, if anyone at Blizzard is going to pick this up and agrees with me and thinks it's worth the development effort, I'm sure you can develop it much better, the UI and the buttons, than the way that I'm describing it. But I hope
€5 on Fiverr. €5 on Fiverr.
at least I've convinced of the need that it could be done a lot better, and it would be good for player retention and player.
Fiverr is a website where you can purchase people's artistic designs, be it logos or emojis, etc. I think that's what Neo's talking about. You give €5 to some dude and he'll whip it up, and then essentially you put it onto the game.
Growth. I also think it could be nice if, when we're in this menu, which is the hub of online experience, by the way, that we would be using some of this dead space with something more interesting than a desolate, forsaken flag and a lot of rain. I think this screen could swap out into other images sometimes.
They in StarCraft 2, they have different background screens. You can have Minsk, you can have Kerrigan, you can even have ones that are about like the WCL. I think it's the WCL, basically like the league tournaments where actual players go up against each other, and it's got like Tastosis talking in the background and narrating. They've got lots of different screens. You can animate and have your own personalized screen like you would maybe do on Windows. You'd have your own sort of actual background. I just have pure black because I'm not racist, because I can take black. But I'm going there. But basically, you have your own personalized wallpaper. So why not have the same thing for Warcraft 3? It's such an easy thing you could do, is swap out that wallpaper. Yeah.
So it looks more fresh. I think there could be analytics here that says,
I know Croyville's not here, so I can say what I like.
Grads, you won your last ladder game and you had X how much damage on your Blade Master or whatever. If this could be used for anything that feels engaging in any way whatsoever,
yes,
even if it like by default shows your profile there,
yes,
instead of not showing your profile, maybe it could like show this, just make it a bit smaller and show it on the right, or maybe some component of this. I'm not even asking for the world yet. I'm not asking for, by the way, holy crap, oh my god, what? For years I had 5-1 in stats. Is this working again? I didn't know it got to this point. I have thousands of games on this account. I'm not even asking for the world and asking them to unstack my 5-1 stats. I was going to say, but I'm at 8-2 now. That's crazy. On W3,
I have thousands of games on this account and he's celebrating 3 games got tracked. Jesus Christ.
This is what we have to be happy about.
How little we need to be happy. So sad and so funny at the same time. Yeah, like, this is always something I come back to when we do these sorts of videos. We ask for something simple, right? Like, save us a click with UI. But then scenes like this remind me, they can't do 1+1. That's the level.
Yes, I do. Orf and Legic, please. If you're going to insult anyone, just insult me. Don't insult other people that I'm watching, because they're not here to defend themselves. So please don't type stuff like that.
We're operating here. That's the level of competence that we are talking about here. It is literally +1 that they cannot do. That is insane in the age of computers.
Okay, you're going to make me start doing a Neo rant towards you. You're both suddenly saying that it's not an insult. I mean, whatever. Don't be criticizing or making a comment on someone's personal appearance, because someone might see it as a compliment for some reason, but most people will probably see it as a negative. So, whatever. Just, calm yourself, okay?
That is insane.
Three champions, when you make control groups, like grouping 12 units to control group 1, there will be a little 1 over your UI that says there's 12 units inside, with perhaps the most important unit appearing first as an icon.
That's an interesting point there. I like that.
This is a nice thing that many...
Oh, am I dropping frames? Yeah, that happened yesterday. Not for too long, though. I think it's going to come back. Yes, making a comeback, I think.
It's not that they can't. It's not that they... it's that they don't want to. No! It is that they can't. They put out this ladder system that is supposed to track your wins and losses, and they put it out there, and they wanted to put it out there, and they cannot make it work. They cannot make it work. They cannot put out a system that puts a +1 on your
What's with Neo and these awkward pauses?
account when you win a game. It is out there. They wanted it out there. They can't.
RTS games have, and it could be cool to give a little bit of visibility to players that they've made control groups and how many units there are in it. Of course, this could be a toggle. If you don't want to display this, you could turn it off in the menu. Again, a setting to have it on or off, which does lead to a little bit more setting pressure for players. In that sense, it could be a negative, but I feel like it's generally a big positive if you have that option to show it.
Yes.
Currently, if you want to do hotkeys in Warcraft 3, you go to your settings, options, you go to input, you turn on classic custom grid, you go to custom.
It's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Then you open a text file on your computer, which is custom keys text, which is in your documents folder under the Warcraft folder. And then you open the custom keys txt, and then you start finding the abilities you want to change the hotkey for and changing it manually one by one. I think it'd be lovely if people could just go here, options.
Quick tip, there is a website that you can actually change. I can't give you a link to it right now, but I might include it if I remember at the end of it. But there is a website you can go, I don't know if it's still up, that basically you can just, I don't know, should I try to find it quickly? Let's see if I can find it. Ooh, hopefully I've got it on like a quick search. Hotkey. Is this it? Oh, there you go. Thankfully, I have a quick example for you. Oh, by the way, this is my favorite. It's super old, but this is what I use for my inventory hotkeys. F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, which will probably come up later in the video. It affects how I play with heroes. So people typically have F1 for the first hero, F2 for the second hero, F3 for the third hero. I never learned about that when I started playing Warcraft 3. Don't know why, just didn't. So I always hotkey my heroes as 1, 2, and 3, for example. But yeah, I have F1 through to F6 for like my 7, 8, 4, 5, 1, 2 inventory hotkeys. So I would recommend Let's Go's Warcraft Toolkit. It's a super old one. It's basically more for Dota if anything, but it actually will work. It'll work. And this is the website I was talking about. So hotkey editor. You basically just like, for example, click on the footman and you say, oh, I want the footman defend to be F instead of D. Little things like that, or attack move, or I changed the M on movement to G, and then you just save it, and it saves it as a little notepad file that you then put in instead of the current notepad file.
Hotkeys, or under input, change.
Again, I'm still really pissed though, because this is one of the features I really wanted from Reforged, was StarCraft Remastered got the basic treatment that StarCraft 2 has, right? Where you can click, you have it in the game, you can click on the unit, it will clearly display everything that unit can do, what it's up to. It's almost quicker for me to just load it up, but I don't know, I'm going down too much of a path here. Don't think I have StarCraft Remastered on. Yeah, basically it would show all the pictures of the move commands, the attack commands, the abilities of the unit, and you just simply click on it and change the hotkey inside the game and then save it. Easy. Why? Why did we not get that in Warcraft 3 Reforged? It was so easy to do.
Hotkeys and do it from inside here. And while we're at,
You know who did this? You know who got this to work? You know who are developers that made this work brilliantly, working
Blizzard.
without any flaws.
Oh, I was going to say Blizzard because they did with the other games. I didn't know War 3 Champions had one as well. Okay.
These guys. These guys. And this is not even perfect. This is not even perfect. You know,
So that's probably a similar
select
thing
my
where you
undead,
can save the
pick up my
hotkeys.
heroes. I can do anything with
Yeah,
them.
that's basically the thing I just showed you.
I can customize every single hotkey. You know, $40 million dollar games don't have that, but War 3 Champions does have that. There's probably some room for improvement. I would love to have this too. I would love to have grid hotkeys be independent from your keyboard region. So if I have a German keyboard, I wanted to recognize that I have a German keyboard. Same for French. Same for any other layout. I also want to be able to customize my inventory hotkeys. It's really not that hard. Please. Hotkeys is such a big thing. And it's still so hard in Warcraft 3 to set up freaking hotkeys. It is hilarious, dude. It's hilarious.
Sad is what it is. Ah,
It would also be
Yink,
great
thank you
if
very much
people
for the
could
sub.
change their item inventory hotkeys. Item inventory hotkeys on Classic are numpad 7, numpad 8, numpad 4, numpad 2, etc. In this day and age, not every keyboard has a numpad anymore. Back in the times, everyone had a numpad.
That is
so some
true.
people literally cannot use hotkeys for items with Classic. On Grid, the hotkeys for items are TYGHBN, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
But isn't Stormbolt T? But I suppose if it's grid, then Stormbolt's going to be in a different position. It would be like a ZXCV, I suppose.
It's right outside the grid that gets used for other hotkeys, and that's where the items are. It's pretty convenient. But what if you want to have it somewhere
So
else?
for me, the Y is swapped with the Z, the Z. So I use my inventory on Z and use my coil on Y because it doesn't recognize that it's a German keyboard. Fix
That's
that
annoying.
as well, please. Then I can use grid.
Hotkeys, and that's where the items are. It's pretty convenient. But what if you want to have it somewhere else? The only way to do it is via third-party software, such as auto hotkeys or war keys. And it'd be nice if people had that functionality to be able to manually choose their item hotkeys as well, and preferably all via the in-game menu. When you're placing a tower, a burrow, a guard tower, a cannon tower,
Just change your keyboard input to English. That's what I do. No! I want this billion-dollar company to recognize, like every other game in the world, that I'm using a German hotkey. It is not that hard. It is not that hard. It's not hard. Every game can do this, except them.
an ancient protector in
It's
Warcraft.
not, I shouldn't be forced to do something to make this work. They should be able to make this work. We have to get out. I totally understand. And I love that you're trying to give me an easy solution. And I appreciate that. But we have to get out of the mindset that we can come up with easy solutions when there's $1 billion company that has to offer the most
They
basic
can't afford it.
solutions. That's the problem. That's the problem. If we have simple solutions, it's fine. It's totally fine to advertise them. It's freaking great that we have these third-party solutions. But if we do a video like this, and if we do feedback like this, the number one thing would be tell Blizzard that they are goddamn supposed to give us basic solutions to problems.
Warcraft 3, you are not presented with a dotted line of maximum range that tower can fire at. While this is partially a skill issue, I'm always assuming that active pro gamers are intimately familiar with the range and will rarely if ever get it wrong. While getting that wrong sometimes can lead to interesting spectating and playing experiences, so in order to preserve the spirit of skill for high-level players, perhaps some people will be critical of this change. I believe in lowering the skill floor of the game a bit if it doesn't affect high-level play too much or
Yes.
at all, and I feel like this is one of those.
Oh,
Having a
yes.
dotted line to show
That's
the maximum
good.
attack range is something a lot of
StarCraft 2 has that, right? Because when I was playing this Warcraft 3 versus StarCraft 2 mod, I noticed that when I would go to use an ability like Blizzard, or more in the case of War Stomp or Thunderclap, which in Warcraft 3, if you hover over the icon or you press it, you don't get like an aura radius indicator, basically a spell indicator. StarCraft 2 would actually show the spell indicator on that ability, even if it's like an instant sort of spell like Warstorm, not something that you would target like Blizzard. So I would love an indicator. In this case, I'll call it spell indicator, but indicator for everything, like the burrow, the building placement, all of that. That'd be so good for custom games as well. Like it just demonstrated there with the tower. What is 800? I kind of know because I've played for a long time, and even then I can still get it wrong because you're essentially still just guessing. But what is 700 range? What is 800 range? What is 550 range? What is 300 range?
Modern RTS have these days, but Warcraft 3 does not have it. I think it'd be a great addition. One more quality of life.
I love this, and I don't know if you mentioned this later, but can we please have a grid when we build stuff? Like in Direct Strike? So we know if there's a block or not? Yes.
You kind of have that.
Yes, give it.
With the buildings. In Warcraft 3, if you want a block, I have to bring out the paint. If you have like, say for example, your Great Hall here, and you build a burrow here, you build, right, and then you can maybe next time you try to hover the next burrow you want to put here, and it will indicate that that is red, but the rest of it is green. So you know that then you build here because you can't build on that red bit, but because that was red, that means that's a block in between those two locations, and then you have an altar there, for example, and then the rest of it is just trees. So that is theoretically like a blocked off base.
To me, baby.
But a grid would be a lot better. It's only because I kind of know how it works, but it's not good for like new players.
And there will be some purists who don't want this, because it's a skill to know the range. But it's just outdated, dude. It's just outdated to not have this.
A change that could be considered is that when a game of Warcraft 3 begins, one of two options. Either automatically put to work all the workers that are spawning at the start of the game,
yes,
putting them into the
auto
gold mine
queue
immediately, or if it's a ghoul, to send it to lumber immediately. Not everyone may like this because it's never been that way, but newer RTS often have this.
StarCraft 2 has that. I noticed in Age of Mythology, which I'm playing at the moment. I haven't played a multiplayer game, but I saw there was an option for it where you can toggle auto queue at the start. So basically your town center will automatically build a villager right away, so you don't have to. And then you can take it from there, but it initially starts off that way. So that's definitely the way, because you're going to want to do that anyway. It just saves you that one extra click that you have to do at the start of every single game.
And it would be a nice quality of life improvement for beginners. I should say that I personally would not like this change, but I'm trying not to only think about myself, but it's not all about what I want, and I think it would help new players a lot. So I'm trying to think broadly here, and I think it'd be a cool...
It would be helpful if Grubby could just stop being so selfish for 1 second.
Quality of life improvement. The alternative to it would be that when you load into a game and the game starts, it would give you a 3-second timer to actually start playing the game. StarCraft 2 has this, but Warcraft 3 does not. This means that you are waiting from the loading screen, which often is very short, but I imagine it could be longer if you play on Reforged graphics or playing on a literal potato like a Raspberry Pi or whatever. And in that moment, it'd be nice if there was a 3-second countdown timer so that you can get mentally prepared for the game actually beginning.
Yes.
This would also level the playing field
I've not seen
for
that
everyone
before.
on different hardware to have the same delay on starting their workers, which is purely based on your own reaction speed and not based on how quickly you load into the game, which may create 1, 2, or 3 second discrepancies between different players.
1000%. We tried to do this. We couldn't make it work for some reason. I forgot the reason. So this is not something the community can easily do. I think it would be great. No downsides. And then you could also, during this countdown, display the opponent's race again, if it's random.
Am I the only one that might be too impatient that having to wait 3 seconds feels like too long?
Like, have it display random, right? But
I found this one out.
for the workers, One little thing for Night Elf, that would probably be extra work, as they have to get a wisp out of the gold mine that is then further away of where you want it to be to build an altar, moon well, whatever your build is.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. If you were going to have it fixed 3 seconds, have it fixed, or rather, no, you couldn't have it as a toggleable option, because if one player had it toggled on and one player didn't, they would get like the advantage where they can just start at the start. So make it so it's multiplayer only, because I don't want to go into a custom game and have to wait 3 seconds to have to do something. I don't want that being hard coded into the game, is basically what I'm saying. If I want to test a custom game and I want to look at each hero or something, and I've got to wait 3, 2, 1. I'm not saying that's what would happen, but I don't want that getting hard coded into the game somehow. So it's fixed across every single game that you host on Battle.net, be it single player or multiplayer.
So it should probably be race dependent. Or you take 4 workers. That is something we have to discuss.
I'm not sure why you guys are giving me a hard time about this, because we all were in agreement that we want instantaneous menus, right? So you click on something, it's right there. This is essentially a similar thing. I want not necessarily instantaneous. I can agree to a countdown, but make it maybe 2, 1. Just cut out the 3, because I can't say 3 properly.
But sending all workers immediately to resources, probably not ideal, and there is ways to improve it.
A couple of years ago, apparently Warcraft 3 has a hotkey for idle workers. The way I found this out is because I was playing Age of Empires 4 and I heavily relied on the usage of that hotkey.
I still need to sort that out for Age of
Warcraft 3 doesn't
Mythology.
have one like that, and people told me, yes it does.
Yeah.
Apparently, either F8
Yes, F8.
or the tilde hotkey allows you to cycle through idle workers.
Yep.
There are a couple of problems with the way it's implemented in Warcraft 3 though. I say problems, it's relatively small, but it could be better. If I have 5 idle workers, pressing the idle worker hotkey...
Marvin, did you just say workers not being able to operate in a gold mine that already has 5 workers in it, like acolytes do, considering you're not mining from a long distance? Is that a good idea? Now that's the issue. You just basically came out with it. You essentially said it isn't a good idea, right? Because I agree that it would help new players to not overfill their gold mines, because I've seen that quite a few times in my 4 versus 4 RT games. I look at an allied base. Sometimes they only have 3 or 4 workers. Sometimes they have like 8 workers in the gold mine. They're understanding the game, or trying to understand it. But it would affect an actual thing that you can do in the game, which is called shame mining. Shame, where you will send your workers out. This typically happens in 1 versus 1 a lot. Once you start to run out of money and the game is dragged on and you kind of know where your opponent is most of the time, so you can send peons off to like another gold mine. They'll have to travel quite far to get there, approximately like 20 to 30 seconds to get there, and then 20 to 30 seconds to get back. But you do that because you know that's going to be a bit of extra income. So that would stop you from being able to do that, because you would put more than 5 peons there in that gold mine, because you have too much wood at that point. Anyway.
He repeatedly allows me to cycle between one and the next. If I hold shift and I press tilde multiple times, then I will select all of them. But as you notice, it just deselected one because I had already started my round and it was now reselecting one that I already had
shift,
selected.
collect them all,
Which
5, 4,
means
3, 2, 1.
them. So it is now it's deselecting everything and I'm still holding shift. And now finally it's going to select all 5 of them again. So because it has like a certain order of going to the idle ones, if I start with the wrong one, then it will start adding and then remove one again, and then I can actually never get 5. So I have to...
Okay, that's kind of funny. I would put this
super niche,
very,
but...
very, very low on the list of priorities. Because if you have like 5 idle workers, you probably have other problems than this.
To start with shifting via the
It's a
tilde
fair
hotkey.
point,
If this
though.
is a little confusing, let me put it more simply. If I want to select all my idle worker hotkeys, it would be nice if I could do Ctrl plus tilde. This works in Age of Empires 4, but not in Warcraft 3.
Yeah,
I'll have to
What
try
works
that.
in Warcraft 3 is just tilde, or tilde shift, tilde shift, tilde shift, tilde shift, tilde. Like this, I'll have all 5. But of course, If I have all peons on the screen and I double click it, it selects all. If I hold control and I left click a peon, it also selects all. So it also makes sense that control tilde would select all, but this unfortunately doesn't work, and it'd be nice if it could. If it's in...
But if you hold control left click, it's for the screen, right? It selects the same kind of unit on the screen and not all. And I can imagine...
Anything
I don't know
nearby.
if, like, the shift command that he's using there is working only for the screen or for all. This could lead to problems if you, for example, have 2 expansions.
an easy change, it'd be a great improvement and would help me to coach and teach new players as I bring them into Warcraft 3 as well. Additionally, in Age of Empires 4, I can't believe I'm using Age of Empires 4 as an example, by the way. I helped them with so many missing UI issues and problems and bugs and so on. They got a lot better, which is why now I use them as an example, but they had many of their own problems because of videos like this, actually. So I'm going to continue using them as an example. In Age of Empires 4, you can choose when you...
Which is great, by the way. Like, isn't that great? They get feedback and they implement it. What a novel concept for a game dev. Isn't that crazy?
Can't expect much from Blizzard.
Other people
It's a
who
multi-dollar
just completely
company.
ignore the feedback. That's nuts. What a revolution for game developers.
select one of these workers or one of these units in this method, whether you want the camera to focus on it or not. So for instance, you could have monks that pick up relics in Age of Empires 4, and I actually have those on the same hotkey, which is tilde. You can choose whether, when you click it, it actually focuses the camera on it. You see, in Warcraft 3, it's forced. I might want to select an idle worker with the hotkey when I'm busy here doing a fight.
Okay, this is...
I might be fighting this camp right now, but I noticed that one of my workers...
Bonus point to anyone who knows the map, the name of this map. I know what it is. I won't look at chat. I'll tell you what it is in a few seconds. This is just a bonus points. I've played this map many times in Reign of Chaos. Okay, I'm going to tell you what it is now. It's called Tranquil Paths. I've had some very interesting games on it. Ones where I was getting bombarded by tanks, so I built Night Elf expansion bases on the cliff parts that you can't see right now. But the game went on very long, and it was rough.
has become idle. Perhaps I want to hit the idle hotkey worker button and bring it here to build a farm here. But it will force my camera back to home where the worker is. Then I need to double tap my hero again to go back to the creeping. It'd be nice if the forced camera part was uncoupled from the fact of selecting idle workers. This could...
Well, according to my chat, the solution would be going back to a previous problem we discussed. Just don't have idle workers, duh. Yeah, I think this is good feedback. I think, yeah, as I said, very low on the list of priorities. Like, learn how to add
Damn, Neo being rude here.
On Battle.net first, and then we can discuss this.
be a setting in the input options. The next part is actually something that you have to teach every single Warcraft 3 player that you onboard. It's got to do with formations.
Yes!
Formations
yes,
is
take it
on by
away!
default when you
Remove
install a copy
it!
of Warcraft.
I see lots of 4 versus 4 RT players use formations. I'm genuinely wondering, does it really actually ever work in Warcraft 3? Warcraft 3 is so separate in the way it plays compared to other macro games. Like, I've been playing a lot of Age of Mythology, and formations works pretty damn well there, as you can imagine. Much bigger armies, much more variety in the type of units that you're going to be spreading out. So I just can't think of many Warcraft 3 situations where formations has ever been something I've ever wanted.
3. Formations is a really good idea by Blizzard that allows you to walk around the map with units in a fixed formation where every unit matches their movement speed to the slowest unit in the group. This can be quite helpful. Very fast units, like the Raider and the Bat Rider, may be outpacing the rest of the army as they're going towards an opponent, and then very slow units, like Demolishers, will be trailing behind far. By using formation hotkey, the Demolisher is standing still and waiting until everyone is in the predetermined formation, and then when you start moving, everyone keeps the Demolisher's movement speed.
He's getting attacked. Hey, you can take that army. Look at that, Grubby. Oh my gosh, having to cheat to beat one easy computer.
That when we arrive at an opponent's base, it's all together. Basically, this is a very good idea, but it has a lot of very obvious downsides, which is
You're
why I
slow as
always
fuck.
teach people to turn it off.
He did that mostly because I don't know if he's done this a second time, whether he's made this mistake, because he put the cheat on, but the computer wasn't interested in him, and it's almost like he knew that. He just didn't want to deal with the hassle of the computer hitting his base and having to like repair it.
These downsides include things such as unresponsive behavior. If I right-click this army to go below, the Demolisher, who wants to be behind in the formation, realizes that he wants to be at the back of the formation again, and the best way to do that is by standing still.
Yep.
Excellent choice.
Once everyone has caught up and went past him, the Demolisher starts moving again.
Yes.
But during the time that the rest of them is trying to catch up, the Demolisher is standing still. Imagine now, for instance, that a Frostworm army is creeping up from above me. There's a Frostworm army coming in, and I want to run away. And I panic, and I take my whole army, and I say, go back to base. And the Demolisher is like, nah man, I'm at the back of the formation, I'm just gonna stay here. This is a very large problem. Sometimes this also affects your heroes. You might be doing a spam click on all of your units where you are about to get QoL Novad on your Blade Master. You want to get away. All of your army matters, but no one matters more than your Blade. So you tell your whole army to go home, but the Blade is really just very slow unnecessarily, and he gets QoL Novad and killed. The only way to prevent him from dying in this way is to select him individually and make sure he starts moving at full movement speed again.
I 100% agree. And you know what it takes to fix this? One could think that you have to engineer something, change a lot, throw all the settings out the window. You have to change a 1 to a 0 in the settings. That's what it takes to fix this problem.
I don't know if they can do that though.
Then you start with formation off, and then I think there's a modifier. If you have an army selected, I learned this recently. If you have an army selected and formation movement is off, but you do Alt on the keyboard and right click, it uses formation, or the other way around. So yeah, just have it as a modifier with Alt and take that formation thing out of the game. It's horrible. It's horrible. Make the default formation off. Change the 1 to a 0.
Pro tip though, you should basically never be using formation unless you're playing some sort of strange custom campaign where it's more beneficial for you to do it that way. But you should never be using... There's more people that are using Reforged than those that use formations. And they shouldn't be using Reforged. So you shouldn't be using formations.
You can do that. I'm pretty sure. I mean, you can nullify my wins on Battle.net, then you can probably change the 1 to a 0.
So I'd like to see formations as a useful thing in the campaign, but extremely counterproductive in multiplayer play. To the degree that for all of its upsides, the downsides are so much larger that I would much rather like to see this turned off by default, because it's literally just, you can pretty much bet on it. Anytime you look at a Bronze League player, a new player, they're going to have this on, they're not going to know they should turn it off, that their army becomes weirdly unresponsive. They're not going to understand why
it's hard to turn off if you don't know.
is standing still because he's meant to be at the back of the formation. They're going to feel like...
Guys, maybe this is why human players are complaining that their army is so slow.
Yeah, human need a
Maybe
buff.
that's
I
the
agree,
problem
Neo.
all along.
Absolutely.
The game is less responsive than what it really is, so this should be off by default when you install the game for the first time. Speaking about onboarding new players, my final tip and my final quality of life improvement I would like to suggest for Blizzard to help bring more players in and to help keep more players in is to use this dead space here to merge it with content creator content, such as build order guides, tier list videos, and gameplay videos, so that people can learn how to play Warcraft 3.
Did he get that from Stormgate? I think StarCraft might also have that in StarCraft too. But I know in Stormgate there's a little section that has like YouTube videos that are essentially guides on the races, the factions, how it all plays, resource management, etc. So it's not a bad idea. Yeah, just link it to my YouTube channel. Why not?
From some of the content creators that have been keeping the game alive. Good channels for...
What? Herr Woozle says, honestly, I wouldn't want Witty's face in my Warcraft 3. What do you mean? What's wrong with my face? I think everyone should have my face forced on them. It's not even like a toggleable option. And it takes up like... Because Grubby was saying, like, say, for example, that's, you know, like 25% of the screen. Then my face should basically be the rest of this.
This would be candidates such as youtube.com/followgrubby, youtube.com/grubbyplays, and youtube.com/grubbytalks.
Hey!
I'm sure there's more, but these are some of the main...
You know there's more. Come on, Grubby. Come on.
He's right. There are more, Neo. It's at WTiiWarcraft and WTi1. That's the ones you're thinking of.
youtube.com/Back2Warcraft. I want that.
Oh, that one.
I want that play button. Subscribe to youtube.com/Back2Warcraft.
What play button, Neo? What play button is that? What do you want? Huh? You want one of these, do you? Huh? Want one of those? You're gonna have to earn it, mate. You're gonna have to work hard and grind. Don't come easy, son.
Warcraft. You can follow Grubby as well, of course, but he has play buttons already. I want my first play button. There we go. By the way, the video is called 17 quality of life improvements to flood players into Warcraft 3. You know what the #1 thing would be to get players into Warcraft 3? You know that?
Custom games. Everyone loves custom games. Sandbox adventures. That's what custom games are. Think about it.
Can you think of something? Make it free to play.
Whoa, I don't know if Blizzard could do that.
It is reasonable.
It sells for £24.99 currently at the moment when it's not on a sale.
After 22 years to make the multiplayer free to play. Campaign, lock it behind a paywall. Totally fine. Lock it behind a paywall. Reforged graphics also. But classic graphics multiplayer, make it free to play. It's time. It's the 30-year anniversary of Warcraft 3 this year. Give us a present. Make
What?
it...
30 years of Warcraft 3? It can't be. It would have come out... Oh, I see, of Warcraft. Because, yeah, Warcraft 1 came out in 1994.
free to play. We deserve it. The people deserve it.
I know I'm old, but I was like, hang on a second. Have I been playing Warcraft 3 for 30 years?
We don't have to tell people to go to G2G or GOG and get a Reign of Chaos key for $5 and don't throw money at the Reforged scam. Make multiplayer classic
It's a
graphics
Reforged
free to play
scam.
like StarCraft 2. Make it free to play. It's time. It's freaking time. This is the #1 improvement to flood players as Warcraft 3. Make it free to play.
Channels that I can think of right now. Additionally, 2 other great YouTube channels that could be integrated here
Oh,
as
he's
well
gonna
in order
say
to make the game of
WTiiWarcraft and
Warcraft 3
WTi1.
and esports and the community of Warcraft 3
Wait.
feel more alive. My
Wait,
favorite
what?
2 channels are Back2Warcraft
No
and
way!
Warcraft 3 Art.
Hey, what the fuck? What the fuck? Excuse me? Alright, that's it. It's war now, Grubby. I see how it is. Here I am, giving out free promotion for you. You know I exist. I can't believe this. This is outrageous. I can't believe it. Yeah, even 1 space left. Not even a mention. I'm used to this. Honestly, I'm used to this. This is how the Warcraft 3 community treat me. I've been doing this longer than time and space has existed. And it's like I'm invisible. What's going on? Luckily, YouTube recognized me with that silver play button, but no one else does.
that show
The
high-level
shout-out!
games of Warcraft 3, and it's a great place to get some inspiration for how to play some different builds as well.
To the
Having
gym
such
as
easy
well!
access guide.
Let's freaking go, Grubby! That's pog!
That's
I
disgraceful.
did not expect that. Oh, and I gave him shit before. Ay. Oh, I should have waited. I should have been more patient. Ooh, this is bad. With Jim as well, man. This is so cool. Did he ever do this before?
That's
Shame
it.
on me. Totally. Yes. Shame on me. Shame on me. That's big. Oh, I love that. This is really cool, man.
There's another
and I said
30
this
minutes on this
before,
video now.
And I'll say it again.
Yeah.
What Grubby is doing, like, obviously with his regular streams, but with the casts of the Tyler show match, with the cast or in coaching with Soda, and also with the games now.
He's
with
trying
Dante,
to backtrack now.
Dante's, and inviting me to cast it. I can't think of
Thank you,
anything
Daniel.
recently that was as helpful to the game as what Grubby is doing right now. And a lot of people take it for granted. And of course, he's benefiting himself to a degree if he's streaming with these big streamers. But my god, did that flood people into Warcraft. And I'm incredibly thankful for it. The Reddit is super active. Jim sees new players all the time. There's a lot of players in our chat that ask for like the basics, which is amazing. And that's all because of these 3 to 4 streams. And now the community is getting shoutouts too. Freaking love it, man. Freaking love it.
Community.
Just edit that part out of YouTube. Nah, I stand by it, man. I stand by it. I made a
Content in the
mistake. I
clients could be
apologize.
very helpful to educate players and to help keep them in the game as well. If you agree with this, be sure to subscribe to those
disagree.
channels. And I'd like to see you next time for more content like this. Thanks for watching.
Freaking
I'll see you
great.
around.
Yeah, this is awesome, man. This is awesome. So, obviously a thumbs up. Obviously a comment.
Okay, I'm going to have to write a comment as well now.
Thanks so much for the shout out, mate.
I'm gonna have to write it.
Video, as always.
Here we go.
It's so funny how we are begging.
I need
for
to
the
change
most
channels though.
Basic stuff.
I'm on my other channel.
But it's a really nice way to gather feedback in an easily digestible way for the devs we have left. Much
There we go.
love. XOXO.
That's a link to the Grubby video.
Wow, with that shout out, I might get my play button soon.
Get some likes on
I
that
might get my
comment.
play button soon. Nice. That was a good watch, man. I just wanted a brötchen. And I got a
I'll do it.
I got a Grubby
I'm not
shout out,
scared.
man. How awesome.
Yeah, that's a great video from Grubby. And it really makes me think 17, the first ones are initially great as well, but there could be so much more as well when you get down to it. It's actually quite a job. You'd have to spend quite a lot of time researching just anything and everything you can put into that game. One thing off the top of my head would be a bloody search bar for like everything you do in the game. Like if I'm searching for a custom map, I have to scroll through hundreds of maps potentially, depending on which folder it's in, to find the map. It's a nightmare. It would be so easy if it was built on the filter system that they have for like searching for custom games that are currently hosted on the lobby, where you just simply say, oh, I want to find Legion TD. So you just type in LEG and it brings up every custom map that has LEG in there. So easy. So easy. Why isn't that in the game? There's so many things you could do for Warcraft 3 that could make it really, really easy. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, then do obviously like the video and subscribe, because apparently no one from Grubby's community or Neo's community will do that for me. But yes, I'll give a link to Grubby's video, which was a good video, and Neo's video, of course, how he reacts to it. So give him a thumbs up each. And I'll put these links in the video description as well. So thanks, guys. If you enjoyed it, let me know if you want to see more stuff like this. Not that there's really more. It's really more of a case I just thought it'd be funny to do like a streamception thing where I'm reacting to another Warcraft 3 streamer who's reacting to a Warcraft 3 streamer. So I don't know how many of these you're really going to get, but I just thought it's funny. Anyway, take care. Have a good one. Take care.